call the Board of Selectmen's meeting of Wednesday, November 2nd to order. Please join us in the pledge of allegiance to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, the first thing on the agenda is our John Duggan there, treasure collector, on borrowing documents. Is that what we're going to be?
Yep, we're rolling over a ban for the middle senior high school for $5 million. We're waiting for the project to be completed before we go to the bond market. And we had $5 million that came due, or is coming due, I should say, later this month. So last week we took bids for 1 year. We'll hopefully wrap the project up sometime next summer and go to the bond market for this. But in the meantime, we have a bond anticipation note, which is a short-term note for 1 year. And we got a very good rate of 0.90. And I think one of the things that helped a couple of weeks ago, we received an upgrading in our bond rating from Moody's. So they called us, or emailed us, I should say, wanting to review the town. Back in September, we had a conference call with them, and we were lucky. We went from, not lucky, we deserved it. We went from an A1 up to a AA3. So that helps on the interest rate, so it saved the town quite a bit of money. And it'll be good to go to the bond market next year with a stronger rating. And basically, the financials are in pretty good shape.
John, when they give you the rating, do they tell you steps you should take to, I know we're up, I mean, I don't know how
Go
much
higher?
we can get, but.
It's
it's
tough. We have a very strong rating right now. They
I
look
just mean in general.
They do. They do.
Guidelines.
Yeah. And we'll work at it. We will get reviewed again next summer, but it's, yeah.
Awesome,
So,
thank you.
anyway, yeah, I appreciate it. So anyhow, we have, we don't have too much to sign tonight because it's just a
Anybody buying a home can get to you, then you can get a low rate for them.
different type of interest rate, but I can get them a Title V loan. Okay. This is the note right here, so I'll just have the selectmen sign over here. I've already signed it, and the town clerk has signed it.
Doesn't require any vote? This is all.
No, not on this, not for bans. When we go to the bond market, we will.
What do you want, top line or?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, if you would. And then this is the clerk's certificate, which Eldon is right there.
Birth certificate, huh?
Yeah. We could have Anthony and... We just have 3 covenants, which just confirms that the bans are tax exempt, so just over here.
Okay.
But there's 3 of them. I will be before you in 2 weeks. We have some short-term money that we do every year. We keep it separate from the middle senior high school. So I'll be back in 2 weeks. We're taking bids on that next week. Thanks, Anthony. Thank you.
Thank you, John. You always do a
Thank
great
you.
job.
I appreciate it.
Thank you, John.
And I'll see you in 2 weeks. Thanks again.
All right, want boards of selectmen's business approved minutes of October 5th, 2016. Is there a second?
Second.
Discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
So voted. Approved for review of the minutes of October 19th.
Moved.
Is there a second? Discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
So voted. Okay, Howard High School. It's not the Howard School. Howard High School moved from the Friendship Pact to the Historical. And we went over with Mr. Benson there today and viewed the stones that
that he wants to put over at the museum, and we had quite a tall discussion, and that's part of the arch, which is in this paper here, and it's part of the Howard High School, and it's in the vicinity of the step, and Gary knows what we're talking about, and Anthony went over to look at it, I think, too, didn't you?
Yes.
Yeah. And, what is your, on this, Anthony? I know you observed it, I observed it, and I know that maybe I take a personal bit because I went to school there, but then again, I did look at the stones, and what I'm afraid of, they start digging around the stones, the way they're etched and everything else, and because we have no idea what's really underneath there. They say they're not down too low, but we'd be in a lot of trouble if they start crumbling. That's my big problem with my visit over there today.
I don't see the value in moving it. I kind of compare it to something like Plymouth Rock, where why would you move it and put it in a building? It's been, I know it hasn't been there forever, but it's been there for probably 60 years since they moved the rubble. I just
Well-
don't see the value in,
Let's clarify
Moving it.
that too, is, what I heard there tonight, that, it's gonna be somewhere outside, it's not even gonna be inside the building, is that correct?
In reference to if it's moved to the museum?
Yeah.
No, my understanding, I mean, unless things have changed, my understanding is it would be in the back left-hand corner of the museum, inside the museum.
Oh, okay. No, I meant the wrong thing. I just have a problem with it there, you know. Sometimes I leave well enough alone. I know in my visit there today, Mr. Benson, he referred to behind the library, there's pieces of the arch over there. I don't know exactly where that's located. Over there, because there's a lot of undergrowth, and you know, it's kind of. And when I talked to him, you know, at noontime today, I thought he was interested in maybe one of the stones, and he told me no, he wants both of them. So, Gary.
He only wants just the word Howard that's over there on the ground. Ellen, I think when it was first brought, first of all, I don't believe it's our jurisdiction. I believe it, the school already gave authority for him to take the stone. So really, I don't think it even falls in the Board of Selectmen's jurisdiction. I think the jurisdiction falls on us only when it comes to moving it, because the Highway Department or Forestry or whatever falls under our jurisdiction. When I first heard they wanted to move it, Ellen, I thought maybe when the stone was placed there was some type of ceremony, and it was placed there for a purpose, and that there was some meaning behind it being placed there. Only to find out, and talking to the former highway superintendent's wife, it was actually just rescued when they built the library, and it was moved there simply because there was no place else to put it. I visited the pile of rubble, I think I told you 3 or 4 years ago, with Tom Snell to see if we could save some of the other pieces that are out there, some of the big granite columns that went up the side, arm rails, handrails are still over there. So at first I thought we shouldn't be touching it, but come to find out it's only placed there because there was nowhere else to put it. I think when you have kids over there riding their skateboards and whatnot, going over it, riding on the larger piece of granite, which they're not interested in moving, I think it's only going to continue to get damaged. Frost heaves in there and whatnot, it's just going to further deteriorate, I think, over years. So I think moving it indoors is a great idea. Really, after I heard the story from Mr. Newman, again, at first I thought it was a ceremonial thing that was put there, with some thought, not just no place else to put it. I believe the superintendent of schools has already told them go ahead and move it. I think the only jurisdiction, in my opinion, we have is that do we allow the highway department to move it for them?
I think it's a piece of town property. I think the Board of Selectmen has a lot to say about that. But, like I said, hey.
I think it's.
What do you think, Harry?
um,
I mean, I don't know.
Plymouth Rock was moved
Do they
inside, by
have
the
the
way.
they built around
autonomy?
it.
You know, I think I've
So-
seen it. So,
I think it's where it should be, where the school was. It represents the fallen school.
Yeah. Well, David, you have any comments, or just stand out of it, or?
Well, no, I mean, as I said from the beginning, this is really not an administrative decision. This is a decision from its residents where it wants its properties and the historical ornaments to be. All I need is direction from the board. I'll implement whatever it is the board wants to do. And truthfully, as I've said to everybody that I've spoken to on this issue, I firmly believe that there's no right answer or wrong answer. It's just whatever the residents want. And whatever the
I
town
don't-
wants is what we'll do.
I haven't talked to a lot of people, maybe 4, 5, 6, and what was told me to leave it alone, but I haven't covered, a lot of people over this, over this issue, and I really want to make a big thing out of this, and I know I was over there at Benson, and I know he did a great job with the museum, as Anthony saw it over there, and putting things together. I don't know. But I think we should put it to a vote. I still feel that the town has something to say over that, the jurisdiction over that. It is part of our history too.
I'd just like to point out that if it was so important, something would have been done with the rest of the remains of the building well before now.
Well, I wasn't really appeased over there that pile was laying over there, I didn't know anything about that, Not until today,
Been there a long time.
Yep. Any more discussion on it?
So, Mr. Chairman, I just want to be clear on one item, because I'm not sure what the vote is going to be, but I do think that Selectman Lawrence does raise a point that when I first spoke to you about this last week, I thought that Friendship Park was town property, not school property.
Yeah.
So I guess the only thing that I'm going to ask for direction from the board is that if you're inclined to vote that we're not going to move it, unless somebody tells me otherwise, I'm not so sure that you could stop somebody from the fire barn from going over there and moving, or the school department themselves from moving it. I just want the board to be aware that I think Selectman Lawrence is correct. You can stop the people that answer to the board from moving it, but I'm not sure that we would be able to stop, say, the school from assisting to move it over to the museum. I'm just giving you a heads up on that.
Because my question came to, to Lenny Graff, I mean, if they can get it out of there, without it breaking up. No, he said, I can't guarantee anything, 'cause I don't know what's underneath there. And I just thought that leave well enough alone, and, it's been there for years, and why move it? Well, okay, is there a motion?
I'll make a motion that we allow the Historic Commission to move the stone to preserve it in the museum.
Is there a second to it?
Seconded.
Okay. I still think that it should stay where it is. I'd like to amend it, and I think it should be left where it is.
I'd hate to see the school spend money to move it if it's their jurisdiction when we're capable of moving it, if it's gonna be moved, no matter what we say. That's my
Well, maybe
biggest
that's.
concern. I mean, I don't think it should be moved.
What we should find out, who's got really the jurisdiction. Jerry just brought that up, but I don't know if that's conclusively, and maybe we should.
So what if we just not take a vote on anything and just try to work it out? Find out whose property it is and do it the most cost-effective way. If it's the school's property and they want it moved, then we'll allow the highway department to move it.
Yeah, we could do that. We could study it and just see who's really got the jurisdiction of it.
Well, the superintendent and the chairman of the school committee already approved the removal.
Yeah, I know they approved it, but is it exclusively, not that I, they got autonomy over that? That's what I'd like to know, you know?
Yeah, I don't know.
And we're gonna waste money on legal fees to research if the school's
Well, I don't wanna
responsible?
waste
Or
a
if
lot of money
or
to-
if
that
it's on
should
their
be a kind of-
property.
kind of a
It's been
simple-
untouched, unmaintained, not thought about by the board forever. I just think it's a waste of time. No one's worried about it before, except for the historic commission.
Well, they only mentioned it a week ago.
Yeah.
What? I
That's the
agree.
first time we heard of it. They've had years when they were doing that out there.
Well, it went all the way through, and Dick Safe was brought over, they was about ready to do it, but I heard about it, there's another thing to it. When you're gonna do something like that, I mean, that's been over there a long, long time, and all of a sudden, we only got a week to, I still feel that it should stay where it is, but hey, I'll,
Eldon, I would agree with you 100% if there was a
but, look,
ceremonial
Sarah,
laying
I
of the
withdraw
stone.
my motion, and I'll just call for the vote, you know, I mean, like I said, I strongly think that you ought to stay where it is, you know? But hey, two guys feel that, and, you know, I'm with Ann, I don't wanna spend a lot of money on that, and I think you mentioned it, that, if we've gotta hire somewhere else to, move it other than the highway, you know, you're not
Yeah.
in favor of spending money, to get it out of there, you know? Okay, so I withdrew my amendment on it there, and I'll just call it to a vote. We got a motion, we got a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I'm against, I'll vote against it 2-1.
Trust me, Eldon,
Yes?
I was right there with you till I found out the reason it's where it is.
Well,
When
like
I thought
said,
it was,
you know, I don't always agree, but that's it. That's it.
I
So
think,
voted.
I think we move forward and make sure we try to preserve some of the more of it, Eldon.
Oh, it's certainly interesting, you know? Well, okay. Chris,
Hello.
let me see where you are.
10 minutes away.
Wow, we got 10 minutes. No, I think I can kick 10 minutes up on that, unless we think we're gonna have anybody come in on that, or maybe it's always safer to wait.
Yeah, we got a few other things we can go through.
Howard School Stone, okay, council agent recommendation to appoint, Jim Henderson as the council agent. Is there a motion to that effect?
So moved.
I'll second.
Second, any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, so voted. Okay, we got, the other gentleman from the middle, but I don't think he's, nobody out in the hall.
No, and I will say that although Chris's appointment is for 7:30, it's not a public hearing, so if you want to take him
No,
while he's
I'll
in the
just
room,
move to Chris. Yeah, go ahead, Chris.
more than welcome to.
I dropped off a packet today for you, of a letter from National Grid and a map. Are you aware of what's going on with National Grid in town? What their plans are?
Well, I know that they gave you a list of trees, like 200 trees, but then you went out and took a walk, I guess, and you kind of narrowed that down. And I noticed up in Brockton, they're scalping the heck out of the trees up in Copeland Street, you know?
Yeah. They're taking their, if you notice the new poles that have gone in, they've gone from 35-foot to 40-foot poles.
Mhm.
And they're approximately 250 locations in West Bridgewater for those new poles, okay? And with that, they're upgrading their voltage from 4,000 to 13.8. They feel right now that the condition of our wiring is catastrophic, that it's ready to fail at any time. So this is going to take care of this issue. And when they upgrade the voltage, they have to increase the size of the poles by law to get them further up from the other utility lines. And they're also bundling the three-phase now, which is creating an issue with the location of many street trees, okay? We looked at approximately 60 trees. They're gonna remove approximately 40 to 45. There's loads of little tiny ones, but these are of significant size, 40 to 45, and we saved approximately 15 to 20, okay? Of those 15 to 20 that we saved, they're gonna be pruned, and when they're done, they may end up having to come out because they just could be pruned so severely, okay? But, every one of them has been approved by the resident who lives at the location. Some may be on private property, many are on street, town property, okay? The last thing I want to do is interrupt electricity flow. This should eliminate a lot of outages in town. But on the other hand, I want to protect the aesthetics of the town and the trees. So I think we've come to a very good compromise. The gentleman that I had with me for 2 days, the arborist, were very professional. And several of these trees are hazardous trees now. Some I had already marked to take down, and some they found other significant hazards with. So there are quite a few of them that are help for us to get them to take them down, okay? They are going to stump grind a few, maybe 10 or 12. I wanted them to do all of them, but they wouldn't. Some of them are set back quite a bit, they don't have a budget, but the ones that are near the edge of the road, they said they would. 2 of them, I'm getting a consult with another arborist on before I give them the all clear to take down, because I just need a second opinion. And they also have a tree replacement program, not tree for tree, but they are going to give us some new trees, which is good as well. So, the only downside of it is that we are gonna lose a few trees that I hate to see go. But the wires are gonna go right through the middle of the tree. You can only do so much with the pruning of it, so. All in all, I think last week, David and I were out riding around, we saw an awful lot of red dots. And we did get them to spray paint a few of them, well, 10 to 15 of them, and got rid of the dots completely, okay? And I think we've come to a pretty good compromise,
How
so.
many trees are you talking?
Take down approximately 40 to 45.
And we were here in the vicinity of 200. Okay.
Well, I thought that was the original conversation. It was about 200 trees that they had originally marked.
Well, some of them, okay, so this 40 to 45 would be significant sized trees. There are dozens of little things like this that are growing up under the wires that by state law, we or utility can just remove, okay? So there are loads of those, but of significant size street trees like the one we saw in that corner, 40 to 45. They were closer to 60, and we've cut it back a little bit.
Gentlemen,
There will be
any
some.
comments?
Yeah, the stump grinding.
Yeah.
How do they choose which ones? And we're not gonna just leave a stump in someone's front yard, are they?
They choose to go back from the edge of the road, perhaps up to maybe 6, 8 feet. They're doing for me. So that's taking out maybe 10 or 12 stumps. Beyond that, they're going on front lawns. They have cleared with all these residents that they're not taking the stumps out, and these people are okay with it.
And we've confirmed that it's not just, yep, they said it's fine.
They've got it written on their tag. However, whenever we take down a town tree, we go back up to 20 feet by state law, we always grind them.
Right.
So we may be grinding a few in the future, you know.
Any questions?
Did they come to you before they had marked them, or were they just gonna knock them down?
They told me they were coming into town to meet with me about tree removals. I then saw the dots here. I called them on it, and they said they were getting ready to call me to set up a time to meet. And that they did the following Thursday and Friday. Their hope was to get right into town right away and start because they're also doing trim outs too. They're doing numerous trim outs. If you look at the map, it's an extensive amount of roads, and it's, like I said, 260 locations of poles, roughly 260, so.
Then they'll actually be saving you some money, because you said that some you were gonna take down anyway, right?
Yep, absolutely. Yep.
And just so the board is aware, in the letter from National Grid, they state towards the end, it says, quote, "Each property owner who signed an authorization form also signed off on a stump being left behind," end quote. So just to that point.
Okay, anything else?
Does this require an approval vote or just an FYI?
Really just an FYI. You know, truthfully, I'd been contacted by some residents who lived in that area that were concerned. I reached out to Chris, and that's when Chris and I went for our ride.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay?
Okay, thanks, Chris.
Okay.
Chris, if anybody's out in the hall, we're supposed to have a guy come in. Joe, did you give him any time, or come in and
No,
just?
he is not going to be here this evening.
Oh, he's not coming?
He is not going to be here.
Oh, okay, thank you. He's not gonna be here, okay.
Good night.
Okay, all right, we'll go to communication reports and boards.
Are we still gonna discuss that, or?
I would, I knew
Oh,
he
he's
wasn't.
not gonna be here, but we can still
Correct. I
discuss
think,
it.
I
Okay,
think
all
it's
right.
important to have the conversation, even though it's preliminary, just so the board is aware. And what I would like to do is invite the gentleman in, listen to a presentation, and the board will have to give me direction as to what you'd like to do going forward.
Yeah, I think we should hear from him now, and then we make a determination, you know?
So that's what I'll do, is at this point, I'll just, so for those listening, a gentleman that currently owns a business in Brockton is looking to relocate somewhere in New Hampshire and Massachusetts, is basically shopping municipalities to see who will give them the most advantageous tax incentive to move. And so, first thing we'll do is invite him in, have him do a presentation about the building and his business itself, and I guess we'll take it from there.
Okay.
Do we know roughly how many employees this employs?
So currently he employs 24, and he said over the next 2 years, he hopes to hire about 5 more.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, so you don't require a vote, just let you do it, right?
Yeah, we'll just, I'll set up a time for him to come in the future.
Okay. Then we go down to the next one, the zoning board of appeals, site plan review for 403 Pleasant Street, contractor's yard.
Is there a reason we don't have page numbers anymore?
On the tablet or on,
18 to 25,
on the agenda?
on here.
No, on my agenda, it doesn't tell me what page.
18,
Oh, on the-
25,
It's on your hard copy.
Okay, thank you.
okay, 18, 25.
So just so the board is aware, there has been, for a lengthy period of time, 401 Pleasant Street has been a contractor's yard. The owner went to the planning board a handful of years ago and split it legally, so it was split into 2 properties, but retained and then leased what became 403 to another entity and remained as a contractor's yard. But the special permit only lists 401, so 403 is technically not compliant. So this is really just a perfunctory motion by the ZBA. It's already been approved as a contractor's yard. It meets all the specifications. If you read the building inspector, Mike White's evaluation of it, it meets all the criteria. So, you know, I suspect the ZBA would approve it. But again, under our bylaw, you do site plan review as well.
I'll just pass on our typical review items, that aesthetics be considered in any renovations or changes to the property, and screening if necessary for residential abutters.
And then you got anything to add to it?
I do not.
Okay, any other questions? All those in favor?
All right.
Aye.
Okay, unanimous. Okay. Correspondence from public to determine a course of action. I think a comment from us is about the voting, that over 20% of the people of West Bridgewater already voted for the coming elections. So it's about approximately 5,000 voters, and so there's already 20% that have voted. And according to John Duggan, there's more that voted today, so.
It's a very steady line all night.
As much, so they're using that, of their privilege, so.
Now, there's a reminder, the Tri-Town Veterans Day Parade is in
Yeah.
town this year, so we hope for a great turnout. It's always good to have a great turnout when we're the host community.
And that's on the Friday, the 11th. It goes on the day, and hope to see the board there and all the other people that participate. Okay, public comments? All those chairs out there, nobody speaking. Okay, I'll move for the town administrator's report.
So thank you, Mr. Chairman. Excuse me. So the first on your agenda is in reference to a senior scholarship run. You may recall that recently you signed off on a policy empowering the town administrator to sign off on requests. This one came in a little over a week ago. It's an annual run that is in support of the school. It's already occurred. It occurred over the weekend. The police chief had signed off on. Everything went pretty well. But as part of the policy, it is requested to place on the agenda and provide an update to the board. So that's what I have done.
Okay.
Next one is just another update. Selectman Lawrence at a previous meeting had asked us if we had any new fire department employees to have them come in. Since the last time that we had someone come in, they have not hired anyone new, so there's no one else to bring in. And Chairman Marrera at a previous meeting as well discussed the issue with Columbia Gas, where they were opening the road and not necessarily leaving it in proper shape afterwards. So a meeting was called with Superintendent Graff. Tracy Aldrich was present in the meeting as well. We had a lengthy conversation with them. They will go back out. They're going to re-inspect some of the sites and provide some upgrades to that, and obviously pay a little bit more attention going forward. So that was fruitful.
If I could just, for clarification, is that East Street 106 one of the areas of
Yeah.
concern? Okay,
Yeah.
because a lot of people have been asking me what's up with that, when they're gonna
Yeah,
fix it,
yeah.
and I wasn't sure if that was the finished product or not, but,
Yeah,
so thank you for bringing that up, Eldon.
So,
okay.
and I'll follow up on that. And then the last thing is that, as you know, we funded 2 internship programs, one for the Conservation Commission, one for the Board of Selectmen's office, Town Administrator's office. We have interviewed candidates and filled the positions. Both people, one started last week, one will start this week. I am going to have them come in and meet with the board. However, they are students, so they actually have classes on Wednesday nights. Their classes will end in early December, so they will be here before the board on Wednesday, one of the meetings in December, to meet with the board. The Conservation Agent Internship Program will focus on complying with the new EPA guidelines for our stormwater permit. And in our office, he has already started to solicit collective bargaining agreements from our peer communities and local communities, since all 4 of our union contracts are due to expire this year. So that's what he'll be doing, and compiling a spreadsheet which will help us in our negotiations when the time comes.
Okay, anything else for open session?
Nope, that is my report. Thank you.
Okay, we're moving along to executive session pursuant to Mass General Law, Chapter 30A, Section 21 of A, Exception 2, to conduct strategy session in preparation for negotiations with non-union personnel, specifically the highway superintendent. Okay, I have a motion here, executive session, motion November 2nd, 2016. Would entertain a motion to enter into executive session, not to return to open session, for the purpose of conducting a strategic session for preparation for negotiation with non-union personnel, specifically the highway superintendent. Roll call vote.
Kinahan, yes.
Lawrence, yes?
Murray, yes. We are now in executive session. Thank you and good night.
Tracy, can you shut that off? I'm freezing.
Too hot. Yeah, he's right in.
Yes,
You know what? Probably because the air is hitting you.
yeah.
It's going right over
Yeah.
Oh,
us. It's going over us. It's hitting you.
what?
We're trying to keep it
Is that a
close
hair
here.
joke?
No.
I'm just kidding.